So we are going to spend time looking how we would work backwards through a problem. So imagine we were, instead of given the number of sides, as we were in example number 2 sitting in front of us, we were given the number, only the angle, and told that it was a regular polygon and asked to determine the number of sides. And so we're going to use the example on how we calculated the angle and see that as a way to work our way backward from the angle to the number of sides. So we know that we took our sum, and I just need to grab my pen here. We took the sum of the angles, which in this case was 720, and we don't know how, we wouldn't know this, so rather than having 720, we would have the sum of the angles, and we divided it by 6. Well, again, we don't know what 6 is, so we've got 6, but we know that it was equal to, oh, sorry, let me correct that. We don't put in 6 because that's what we don't have. We put in n. We don't know what that is, but we do know that it equals 120 degrees. 120 degrees, there we are. And so now we go, okay, well, that's essentially what we have. And how did we find Sn? How did we find that 170? Oh, we used the formula to find the sum of the angles. So we used 180 degrees times n minus 20. So we're going to replace that Sn with the equation we would use to calculate it and divide it by n, and that's equal to 120 degrees. Now, we can actually simplify 180 times n minus 100, or n minus 2 by multiplying through. So we can take 180n minus 360, and that's equal to, or divided by n is equal to 120 degrees. Now, remember that anytime we have a variable in the denominator, it's essential that we bring it out of the denominator, and we do that by multiplying both sides by the denominator. So we're going to multiply both sides by n. Here we cancel n, and on the other side we have 120 n, so I can take 180 n minus 360, and that's equal to 120 n. Now we're in a situation where we have an equation with variables on both sides. So I am going to subtract 180 n from both sides of the equation so that I can move to eventually isolate n. And to isolate n, we have to have n in one spot. So 180 n minus 180 n is just 0, and then we have minus 360 is equal to 120 minus 120 n minus 180 n, which is negative 60 n. Finally, we are going to solve for n by dividing by negative 60. This cancels, and we have an n value that's equal to 6. Negative 360 divided by negative 60 gives us 6. And so you can see, by starting where we would have finished in this example, looking back through the process of how we got there, we end up being able to solve for the number of sides.